Hello everyone, welcome to a new devlog. I wanted to showcase the game that New Future Kids has been working on the past few months, called Bobo's. And if you can't already tell, it's, maybe you can, maybe you can't, it's a game inspired by Chao from the Sonic Adventure series. That kind of game like really never has been done since then. There's been games like it, but not kind of that experience, and we were just really curious as to why, because we think it's a really cool gameplay loop and concept, and we wanted to give it a try. We had a bunch of cool ideas that weren't in that original game, since it's pretty old, and we wanted to add in and see if we can improve upon things and add new features, stuff like that. So yeah, this is the garden area currently. It's obviously just blocked out. It's like white box level. I won't go around everything because it might change, but kind of an area for us to run around in. This will be where your Bobos are at. These are Bobos, as I said, and you kind of access everything from here. So the game is going to be set up into these hub worlds, and this is the main one. This is your garden, where all the Bobos will be at, and this is where you'll train them, and they'll just hang out. So as an example, like I have the little snack dispenser here. Pick up a snack and you can feed it to your Bobo, and they'll sit down and eat it, munch on it, and their stats will go up. Right now, if you pick one up and you hit E, it's a little debug screen. Shows its stats. So Power Gary is the name. Stats, grade F. Actually, all this is going to be changing relatively soon. After testing with this for a while, we learned a lot, and I'm going to be completely rehauling how the stats work, and there won't be this many. As you see here, there's like 4 main: is power, agility, speed, and soul. That's gonna be cut down by a lot, and to fit kind of our new plans for what this is gonna be, because things evolve and change. So I won't really go into that since it's going to change, but it's pretty familiar. If you're familiar with Chao Garden, you have things like power and jump and run speed, climb speed. And so yeah, if you feed it snacks, it'll obviously get better in those stats. And right now you just have these little apple things. And I guess one little small thing, we have these little tables. Something we want to do with the game is like, there's not going to be a ton of menu, like UI type thing. There's going to be, because you have to have it, but we want everything to feel pretty physical in the world. So like, yeah, picking up a Bobo and hugging it will show its stats, things like that. So for as actual items and things you can unlock, you have these like tables around that. This is your inventory. So if an item is just kind of like sitting on the ground, it'll despawn after a couple days, but if you put it on one of these tables, it'll stay there until you use it. So if you have something that is really powerful or rare, but you don't want to use it on any of your Bobos currently, you put it there and it'll be saved. But you'll have a limited amount. So that's the current idea. That could change a lot, but that's kind of what we're doing right now. And yeah, I guess right now there's not much in the garden. It's kind of just these little Bobos. You can toss them around. They're just walking around and exploring the area that you're in. There's a Bobo out there. The biggest thing we've been working on is, I mean, it took a while to kind of get a lot of the systems set up, but we have a sample race. So we had a race going with kind of a level, but we want to save some of those ideas for later when the art looks maybe a little bit better. We'll see though. And so I made a kind of a debug race that kind of shows off all the different things that have been made so far. So normally this gate will be in the town. So the town is kind of over here. When you go into it, there'll be a bunch of stuff in there, like stores and things. There'll be a sports complex, which you will be putting your Bobos into these competitions there. And how it works is you place your Bobo on these little pedestals, and the gate will open and you can enter. We're using this pedestal idea because a big thing we want to do with this game is that a lot of the competitions you'll be able to put multiple Bobos into it. Right now the main idea is that it'll be like relay races. So you have a long race and you pick which one is going to be the last leg, which one's going to be the start, depending on what the map looks like. So the idea behind that is you can tell a bunch of Bobos to follow you, and then when you get to pedestals, you'll be able to place them on the correct pedestals for what they're going to be doing in that race. It could be more that we're not going to be, I guess, sort of announcing right now, but that's the general idea, is that we're definitely going to be having these relay races. So I guess we'll show off the race. So if you place one down, jump in here, ignore that. So yeah, you have this kind of just area with this grid-based meshes just to kind of show, and you see the Bobos in the back there. And we have a camera kind of showing off the map. This is actually the same animation from another map, so it's not really fit for this, but how it works is you have these Bobos down here, and I guess we'll get started. So if you hit start, Bobos will begin, and we have obviously running, we have time, their name, and their stamina, top right. Swimming does work. There's no animations really, but their speed does change when they go into the water. Climbing, again, no animations, but it works their climbing speed. And then you have jumping. So they can jump pretty far. His Power Gary's jump isn't very strong. And it ends. So Power Gary time, 29 seconds, a little leaderboard, and they go to a spot on the map. So we basically, I'm trying to make this really easy to make because we want a ton of levels in the game. That's kind of the idea, is we want a lot of different types of competitions and maps that have fun, unique qualities about them. And as you see, you'll see the other ones start to come in. I'll let it play out so you can kind of see the leaderboard come up. Perfect. So all of them are done. They kind of go their respective places. We won. So if you return to the garden, you actually have that spit out. So you won an award. So you have this little item, and then I can feed it to Power Gary, so he gets better. So that's the kind of gameplay loop we have right now. We have a bunch of sample different events to do, but right now I have to like manually set which one happens in this doorway. So that's kind of the next goal of mine, is to. I have a schedule working in the game, which has a full calendar system where competitions will happen on certain days of the year, which we'll go into at a later time. But right now it's just we're testing, so it's just the same race over and over again. And that's how that works. So I guess one thing I wanted to show off besides this, the last thing, since this is all pretty straightforward, is kind of some of the level design tools I made for the races. So let me show that off real quick. Alright, so here is the map that you saw in that competition, and you see it in basically the editor mode with all the gizmos are around. It's kind of crazy. I went a little bit overboard with the gizmos. I can turn them off, just kind of see the map. It's very basic. All this stuff is customizable, so Alex, who's making the levels and everything, he'll be able to turn off icons or change the colors if he wants to. But right now this is working. So the competitions are pretty easy to make. We have these basically Bobo spawn points. It just has this default thing with a shape, so we know where they could be when they're turning, what number lane they're in, and then there's a checkpoint. So the checkpoints are obviously just show they collide with that, and then here's the point they're walking to. Probably soon I'm gonna be, maybe it depends on how the races go and how we start making maps and what it looks like. It really just depends on the feel of it. The idea is that maybe like we can change this so it picks a point in this area and not that exact point to walk to. But at the same time, it doesn't really make sense. You would always pick the fastest point to the end, which would be 1 point. So we'll see what we do with that. But this is a checkpoint. They connect with each other, so you can see the next checkpoint on there by this line. And then this is a camera transition, so whenever you see that camera kind of move to a new one, when Bobo goes through there, it transitions to that camera that it's pointing to right here. It's kind of a nice little feature. We can change Bobo's perspectives at any time. So Bobo's going to cross these. We're logging in information. So if I'm in first place and I'm way over here, and I switch to looking at a Bobo that's way over here still, it'll go to the right camera and switch to that. So a couple of cool things we're doing. So this one's pretty straightforward, but this is a lane checkpoint. So normal checkpoints just go to the next one. But this one you can actually pick lanes. So this one, when Bobos cross it, they pick one of those that's right there to go to, and then it gets removed for the other ones. There's gonna be a couple options for level design where we can do that, where it's random. Also, we can make it so Bobos stick with one number the whole time. So if you're 0 or 1, you will always go to the same one the whole time. If you're 5, you'll stick to the 5 lane the whole time. So we allow us to kind of do laned races if we want to do that way. So once they go there, how they climb in this game isn't anything that we're actually like setting. It's just if the angle of a mesh in front of them, a collider, is past a certain angle, they will climb up it. That could change. Right now, that's kind of the idea, is that we just want them to be able to climb anything, because anything that they can get to. So if a nav mesh is up here, and they spot that point, they should be able to walk to it, climb up, and get to it. So that's how that works. Another camera transition. And then we have a little jump spot, which is nice. So this is a normal checkpoint with a jump point. So you see the icon. So we have this, we can kind of drag around where we want the Bobo to jump to. This point is the max jump. So we want Bobos to, obviously we want to limit where they can go. So if you're maxed out in jump, this will be where you'll land. This is the minimum jump. So if you're at the lowest point, you'll land there. This is a kind of a short one, but you can make it so it's a pretty long gap that you're jumping if you really wanted to. It depends on what the level design requires. Alright, so next, another camera transition. So this is the last, well, I guess the last one is the end point. So the end checkpoint will just go, same kind of thing as lanes. They go to a different, depending on what place they're in. So 1, 2, 3, it's in order. This is a new type of one that I'm really excited about to see what possibilities are, but this is a fork checkpoint, which allows you to split up. A Bobo picks a lane to go down. So we're going to try to fit in these things where it's not just random, where depending on how smart they are or whatever the stat would be, they pick the fastest lane. Or there's 2 forks in the road, one leads to a climbing section, one leads to a swimming section, and if their swim is better, they will go to the swimming section. So that's kind of how that works. This can be as many as you want. This is just 2 forks. We can technically do hundreds. It just picks a random one. And they can continue to fork too. So we can have this one fork into more. Just kind of as long as it kind of leads back to the same endpoint, we're good. So that'll be a really fun thing to do with level design and introduce some kind of neat concepts, I think. Cool. So that should be it. I just kind of wanted to show off the different level design stuff we have going on. And I'm excited to see, what we come up with in terms of actual maps. And I don't want to tease anything else we're planning, but hopefully this is exciting to see kind of a Chao Garden-esque game being made. I think we're doing a pretty good job. And soon, we're going to be adding stuff that, wasn't in Chao Garden. That's kind of the goal, is like, let's get to a solid point where this is like, the core of Chao Garden is there, and the things that make it really fun to play, and then not everything, but the core of it that we feel is most important, and then let's make it our own and really expand upon that concept. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully tune in for the next update, whenever that is.